The wind is already screaming over the water. Sand lashes my face. Children are crying somewhere behind me. And in the dark, beyond the ridge, I hear it. The hard, rolling thunder of chariot wheels coming for us. The sea has not opened. Not yet. My name is Eliab, son of no prince, no captain, no elder. I am a camp scribe. I carry a reed case, 2 knives, a cord of ink, and scraps of leather wrapped against the damp. My hands are made for marks, not for spears. I count grain. I copy names. I record births, debts, deaths. That is what I am good for. And tonight, if the Egyptians reach us before dawn, all of that means nothing. My mother is somewhere in the crowd with my sister's boy tied against her chest. My younger brother Malkiel swears he can fight, though he has never stood in a line against trained men. If the sea does not yield, I lose them all. We all know how this night should end, pinned between water and empire. That is how great powers prefer their slaves. Afraid, cornered, easy to gather. It begins to break long before we reach the shore. Even after the plagues, even after the night when Egypt falls silent and every house seems to hold a wound, none of us truly believes Pharaoh will let us go in peace. Freedom comes too fast. That is the first crack. We leave Ramesses in a rush of smoke, kneading bowls, bundles, staffs, crying children, old men half carried on blankets. Not an army, a people. That matters. People later speak as if we move like a shining column of heroes. We do not. We are too many and too fragile for speed. Some among us say 600,000 men are marching, not even counting women and children. I do not know how any man could number such a multitude in the dust and confusion, but I know this. When we spread across the plain, we look less like a camp and more like a moving nation. And nations are slow. The second crack comes from the front. We do not take the easy northern road. We hear that if we meet war too soon, we will lose heart and run back to Egypt. So we turn instead toward the wilderness and the waters, toward a narrow place where harsh ground meets open sea. By day, a pillar of cloud goes before us. By night, a pillar of fire. I write those words, and still my hand hesitates. How do I describe what it is to live under a sign no scribe ever taught me to name? It is not like torchlight, not like the kiln glow from the brick fields in Goshen. It hangs with purpose. It moves when we move. It stops when we stop. Even the old men who complain over everything fall silent beneath it. That is one wonder I do not need memory to enlarge. It is greater than rumor. The third crack comes from behind. Scouts return white-faced. Pharaoh has changed his mind. His captains are riding. Not a token force, not a patrol. Chariots, horsemen, the pride of Egypt. I have lived under Egypt all my life, and every Hebrew knows this. There are few sights more terrible than Egyptian chariots on open ground. They are fast where footmen are slow. They strike where a line is weak. And the men who ride them are trained from youth. Some say Pharaoh comes with 600 chosen chariots, and all the rest of Egypt's force besides. I believe it. You can hear wealth in those wheels. You can hear discipline in the pace. You can hear the confidence of men who have never had to imagine losing to slaves. Panic runs through camp faster than fire. People surge toward Moses. I go because scribes are always pulled toward the center when men begin shouting history into existence. I stand near enough to see his face in the torchlight. Not calm. No, not untouched. He is not carved from stone, but held, there is a difference. That is another thing people forget about men chosen for terrible moments. They still stand inside the same wind as everyone else. The cry goes up around him. Why bring us out here to die? Were there not graves enough in Egypt? It is a bitter thing to hear, but I understand it. Slavery chains the body. Fear chains the imagination. Many of us have lived so long under command that the thought of freedom feels more dangerous than bondage. Moses answers over the noise, not with a sword, not with some grand speech to make men love him. He tells us to stand, to see, to wait. Wait. With chariots coming, with children screaming, with the sea black before us. I remember gripping my writing case so hard the leather creaked. Then the fire moves. The pillar that has gone before us shifts behind us. That is when the camp stills. The light itself takes our rear. Darkness falls over the Egyptians, or so the men on the edge later swear. On our side there is light, on theirs confusion. One sign standing between hunted people and the strongest kingdom any of us have ever known. The wind grows wilder. Moses goes toward the water. His staff lifts. No one speaks. All night the east wind drives against the sea. This is no quick trick, no sudden flash, no easy thing. Hours pass, the roar builds, the shore changes shape in the dark. Whatever name men argue over later, the water before us is death until it is not. The first path appears where none should be. Not dry like summer dust, dry enough, firm enough. A road where water should rule, and on either side, walls. Not gentle shallows, not gradual banks, walls. Black masses of water standing upright in the dark, groaning under the weight of what they are being asked to hold. I cannot look at them directly at first. The mind refuses. There is a moment where the eye sees the thing, and the brain simply will not accept it. My mother drops to her knees. My brother Malchiel laughs once, like a man gone mad. I cannot move at first. The sound is too large. Water groans, wind howls through it. The fire behind us glows red through the flying sand. And then the line begins. A nation entering the impossible. I go with my family. There is no room for scribes now. Only feet. The moment I step onto the path, the ground surprises me. I expect mud. I expect soft giving earth, the kind that swallows a sandal. It is not that. It is firm beneath my feet, with a cold that comes up through the leather. Not the cold of night air. Something deeper, something ancient pulled up from beneath the seafloor. Every step feels like borrowed ground, like walking on a word that could be taken back at any moment. I keep my eyes forward, not left, not right. Because I know if I turn and truly look at those walls, really look at what is hanging there above us, suspended against every law of water and weight, I will stop walking. And if I stop, we all stop. So I look forward. I keep one hand on my mother's shoulder, one hand over my writing case. The air inside the passage tastes like nothing I have breathed before. Salt and deep mud and something older underneath. The smell of the sea's floor, never meant for human lungs. Strange sounds drift through the walls of water. Fish move in trapped pools pressed against the rising mass. The water shifts and mutters overhead, a low thrumming, like a bowstring held at full draw, never released. Some are weeping as they walk. Some are silent in a way I have never heard silence before. Carts creak through, sheep stumble. Children are carried who should be walking on their own. Halfway through, I see something I will never forget. Two strangers, An old woman and a young man from a different tribe. No family connection I could name. He has her arm over his shoulder, half carrying her. Neither speaks, neither has to. That may be the greatest wonder of all. A people becomes a people most clearly when escape is shared. I see my brother Malkiel ahead of me, no longer laughing. His jaw is set. His eyes are straight ahead. He looks like a different man than the boy I knew in Egypt. Then someone in the rear of the line calls out. The Egyptians are entering behind us. I do not turn immediately. When I do, I see them at the entrance to the passage. Horses foaming, drivers leaning forward, standards tossing, men committed to the chase they should have feared. It is one thing for a miracle to save you. It is another for your enemy to ride into it after you. That sight chills me more than the water. We press on. The walls mutter louder now. The wind does not stop. Only the command to keep moving. Only the knowledge that if one cart overturns in the narrow place, panic could kill more of us than spears. And still, the line holds. Whatever else men debate about the Exodus, the story that shapes us is not merely about escape. It is about order in chaos. Families, tribes, elders, burdens, memory. All of it survives the crossing because somehow, against every instinct to scatter, we continue forward together. By the time my feet strike the far shore, dawn is beginning to thin the edge of the sky. I turn, many do, none of us can help it. The Egyptians are deep in the passage now. But something has changed. Their rhythm is broken. The chariots are no longer moving with that awful elegance. They lurch, they lean, they snag. Some shout that their wheels are failing. Some say the ground beneath them is turning against them. Confusion is spreading through their ranks. And for the first time in my life, Egypt does not look eternal. Moses stands out against the grey of dawn. His arm rises again over the sea. Not the gesture of a courtman, not a priest in a polished temple, a desert prophet in the open world. A man once hunted by Pharaoh, now standing over Pharaoh's army. The wind shifts. The sound that follows is too large to call a crash. It is a world closing. The walls fold, the path disappears. Water runs where road had been. Horses rear and vanish. Bronze flashes, then is gone. Standards tilt and are swallowed. The sea takes back what the sea had yielded. No one near me cheers at first. That is the truth. The moment is too immense for cheering. We stand stunned. Wet light spreads across the shore. Children cling to mothers. Men sink down where they are. Some weep because they are alive. Some because they do not yet believe they are. And some because 400 years of fear do not leave the body in a single dawn. Then the realization passes through us like fire through dry brush. Egypt cannot reach us here. Not today. Not as it reached us yesterday. That is when the singing begins. Miriam, sister of Moses and Aaron, takes a timbrel. Her voice is not soft. It is not the voice of a woman performing for a court. It is something let loose after a very long captivity. Women around her answer, then more. Then the whole shore seems to breathe it back. Voices rising over the water where death has just lost its certainty. I had never heard triumph sound like that. Not proud, not cruel, but released. History will remember Moses at the sea, and rightly. But I remember also the women dancing on the edge of survival. I remember that freedom announces itself first in the body, in breath, in song, in feet, striking earth no overseer owns. Later, as the camp gathers itself and the morning grows hot, I begin writing while the memory still burns. my ink trembles. Not because my hand is weak, because I know, even then, that this crossing will outlive me. Some events save a people, others define them. This one does both. Long after my bones are dust, fathers will tell sons of a sea that opened. And long after that, men and women in lands I cannot name will borrow our memory when they speak of deliverance from powers that seemed immovable. I do not know their languages, I do not know their names, but I can feel the weight of the story already. It is too large to remain ours alone. There is cost, of course. Freedom is not rest. On the far side of the sea there is no city waiting, no full granary, no shaded house, only wilderness. Only hunger still ahead, thirst still ahead, law still ahead. The sea delivers us from Egypt. It does not deliver Egypt from us. We carry its habits in our fears, our complaints, our desperate need for certainty. A slave camp can be left in a night. A slave mind leaves more slowly. I see that even now. Men who walked through walls of water are already asking what we will eat. Women who watched empire fail are wondering where we will bury the dead when the weak begin to fall. My brother Malkil, who laughed in terror at the shore and crossed as a man, stares east for a long time and says nothing at all. I understand him. We have just passed through the most extraordinary moment any of us will ever witness. And we are still hungry. That is the strange truth of great events. Life does not pause to let you feel them. As for me, I think of the records I kept in Egypt. Names under quotas, families reduced to labor counts, births noted only because they meant future work. How small writing can be when it serves tyranny. How holy it can become when it serves memory. So I write this not as a court record but as witness. We are not merely escaped laborers. We are not an accident wandering between powers. We are a people drawn out. That phrase matters. Drawn out. Moses himself bears it in his name. Pulled from water as an infant, now drawing an entire nation through water as a man. I am only a scribe, but even I can see the pattern. As for the sea, men will argue where exactly it happened, how exactly it happened. Scholars will measure winds, pilgrims will point to shores. I leave that dispute to later ages. I know where I stood, I know what hunted us, I know what opened, and I know what closed. By the time the sun is fully above the horizon, the eastern shore behind us is only a line. Egypt is still there. Its temples, armies, and palaces do not vanish because one army falls. But something greater has vanished. Its claim to inevitability. That is what breaks on this shore. Not just chariots, certainty. The certainty that the mighty remain mighty simply because they are mighty. The certainty that slaves remain slaves because they were born so. The certainty that history belongs only to palaces, never to camps. This is why the crossing matters beyond our fear and beyond our hour. Because on this morning, the world is forced to admit that power is not God. I close my case. The people are moving again. The pillar goes before us. The wilderness waits. And I, Eliab the scribe, who thought my life would be spent counting another man's grain, walk into a future no Egyptian ledger can measure. Behind me lies the sea. Before me, a mountain, a covenant, a law, a land I will hear of long before I see. But this much is already certain. I was there when the waters stood aside. I was there when empire entered the path it did not understand. And I was there at dawn, on the far shore, when a nation first realized it was free.